Sixth, the Spirit. How does God's Spirit work within us? According to the logic and emphasis of heaven-aimed Christianity, the Spirit primarily works in two ways in our lives. Heaven-aimed Christianity, remember, focuses on going to glory, on going to heaven forever, which is supposedly why God made us, and there in heaven can we really do what we were meant to do. The Spirit does work in our lives right now, however, and here's how. First, the Spirit prunes away sin, and second, the Spirit empowers us to share the gospel. Those two aims fit with what heaven-aimed Christianity teaches about life after we become a Christian and before we die. We avoid sin and help others get their ticket to heaven. Now, don't misunderstand me. Those emphases are biblically correct. The Spirit cleanses us from sin. The Spirit purifies our lives. According to John chapter 15, verse 3, Jesus told his followers, "Every branch in me that does not bear fruit, he takes away. And every branch that does bear fruit, he, the Father, prunes, that it may bear more fruit." What is Jesus saying? God works in our lives to remove godless habits, to remove godless thinking, to remove godless desires. That is how the Spirit works within us. Second, at the beginning of the book of Acts, which is a book that traces the growth of the church, Jesus told his followers that they would receive power when the Spirit comes upon them. This power enabled them to be his witnesses. In other words, to share about the life and death and resurrection of Jesus, to proclaim him as Lord of the earth, and to call all people to come to him for the forgiveness of sins and eternal life. The Spirit does operate in those two ways within us, pruning and empowering. But heaven-aimed Christianity often overlooks a vital third way in which the Spirit works in us. Paul, in his letter to the churches throughout Galatia, said to walk by the Spirit and not by the flesh. The flesh is that set of attitudes, desires, and habits within us that rejects and rebels against God and his ways. Paul says the desires of the flesh are against the desires of the Spirit, and the desires of the Spirit are against the desires of the flesh. And he goes on, but the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. If we live by the Spirit, let us keep in step with the Spirit. What is this third way that the Spirit operates within us? He produces good fruit. He sprouts godliness or godlikeness or Christ-likeness in our lives. As we saw before, being like God is one key reason God made us. Pursuing and experiencing that purpose does not have to wait until heaven. Yes, in heaven we will be perfect and experience our purpose perfectly. In heaven we will fully be like God without a trace of sin. But Christ redeeming us and freeing us means that we can do positively what he made us to do all along. Not merely refrain from sin, but also reflect God's character, however imperfectly, right now. So, the Spirit works negatively in our lives by pruning the sinful tendencies within us. The Spirit works missionally in our lives, empowering us to complete God's plan by sharing the gospel and calling others into the family of God. And thirdly, the Spirit works positively in our lives by helping us be like God. That isn't necessarily all there is to the Spirit of God, but Heaven Now Christianity provides a more complete picture of the way the Spirit works in our lives compared to the picture portrayed by heaven-aimed Christianity.